Hey everyone, I hope wherever you are in this world that you are happy, you are safe, and you are out conquering the week. You all know that one of my favorite things to do is to coach people. I do that every week across this country, and I wanted to be able to show you what I get to do. And so, hey, before we get going, I'm going to ask all of you to do one thing, just so that I know who is out there watching live right now or who is watching the recording. So that I know who's out there, I'm going to ask you to drop in the comment section the state that you're watching from, and then something about that state that you're known for. So for me, I would say Kentucky. We're known for the Kentucky Derby and bourbon. So if you're watching now or you're watching the replay, just in the comment section, drop where you're watching from, and then drop some, or what state are you watching from and what is that state known for? Teach me something about your state. All right. Listen, coaching is such an important part of leadership. I believe it brings out the best in individuals, but it also brings out and maximizes the performance of the whole entire organization. I believe this is why Olympic athletes have coaches. Those coaches aren't better than them at the performance, but they have skills, and there's an art to challenging those athletes to think differently about themselves, pushing them to go further than they think that they can go. And those coaches hold people accountable. And that's why it's so effective. And so I created a model around 4 fundamentals of management. And I actually want to share this with you before I get into coaching. And here's why. If you are in management right now where you have direct reports, or you're someone that aspires to be in management, I teach people that there are 4 clear steps that you have to be able to do to be really effective. Number 1, the very first thing we have to do in management is build authentic relationships with people. Number 2 is we have to set really clear expectations so that people know what to expect from us. Number 3 is we have to coach for performance. And the last thing we do is when people get it right, we recognize it and we celebrate those people. I'm going to tell you what's interesting about that. I always hear leaders and organizations say, listen, I want our people to take more accountability. And so often when I'm working with someone and if there's an issue and I say, where was the breakdown in those 4 steps? They always either say the expectations weren't clear or I was never coached. And this is why that's so important, because I think we set people up for failure in leadership roles when we're not having consistent one-on-ones with people, when we don't give people clear and candid feedback, when in coaching, all we're doing is telling people and not allowing people to come up with their own thoughts and ideas. And the last part is when we wait until there's an actual issue to coach people. And so I wanted to do a series of just live coaching sessions where I get to show you my process and what I do. I wanted to give you a chance to observe the process, but also find out what works, what doesn't work, ask questions at the end of all of this. And also for a lot of you, I had people message me after the last one. They're like, oh, I relate so much to what she's going through. So there's going to be a lot of you today that just relate to what Autumn is actually experiencing and going through. So I hope some of the questions that I ask Autumn are going to even be able to help you move forward in your own life. And just so you have some context, I've hardly ever met Autumn. I have no clue what the coaching session is about today. So this, I did have Autumn, and I have every coaching client fill out a form before they come to me. And it's called The Person I Aspire to Be. So I have a little context about what's going on, but I won't know what the actual goal of coaching is until we bring Autumn on the screen and we actually hear. All right. And here's the whole point I want to leave you with. The whole point of coaching and coaching effectively is about creating awareness and moving people forward. If we're not doing that, we're not coaching effectively. So today, that is our job with Autumn, is to really help Autumn create more awareness about what she's experiencing and help her move forward in her own life. And so I want to take a moment and just welcome Autumn to the screen. So Autumn, hello there.
Hi.
Hey, Autumn, give people some context about how we met, because it's been a while.
It's been at least 8 years, and it was at an association luncheon, and you just brought life to the audience. It was awesome. I couldn't wait for you to write a book. I follow your blogs. I'm a huge fan of Justin.
Well,
So
thank you.
I was giddy when you allowed me the opportunity to do this coaching session.
Yeah. Well, I am honored that you're here. I always say it takes courage to do this in front of people.
Right.
And I think you're an example of doing that. And I just honor your courage, your transparency that you're about to offer all of us. And I hope that you get what you need out of this. So I'm really honored that you're here.
I'm sure we will.
All right. So let's get going. I always start, Autumn, by asking people, what do you want to get out of our time together?
Yes. So I am in a transformation period in my career. And not to date me, but I'm going to have to do a timeline. But in my 20s, I was the go-getter, the yes person, doing everything, taking everything on, just to get the experience and move forward. And fast forward to my early 30s, I finally got the opportunity to be a director. And I bombed at it because I just didn't have the right coaching and the tools. And so I took a step back at that point and kind of self-handicapped myself, saying, because I bombed at that, I'm not able to become a leader of people.
Yeah.
Well, fast forward into maybe my later 30s, I changed industries. I went from hotels into food industry, completely transformed what I do, but I was still in the sales role, but I had to relearn everything. And again, I was that go-getter, and trying to learn everything really, really fast. And I reached burnout really bad. I have 2 small kids. I have a 9-year-old and a 5-year-old. And reading your book was the perfect time for me because I was working on wellness and getting into the gym and making time for that. Read the book. It's a lot of things that I wanted to talk to you about today. And I was on a great path, but because of our situation now, I'm hitting that crash mode. And what I want to be able to do is balance being a leader for my family and also being a leader for others, because I know I truly have a passion for culture and the support of guiding others to be who they want to be, not who I think they should be or any of that. I've read books and I've been to trainings and all of that. And I've just truly transformed of what do I want to get out of my next step to how can I pay it forward? So, but all the while keeping in mind my family.
Yeah. So what I hear is the goal is to figure out, you're using this word of balance, and we'll talk about that, but how do I really balance being a great leader in my own family, but also being a great leader of other people as I move forward?
Right. So the tried and true work-life balance is very, very difficult to achieve, as we all know. But I'm starting to see the family really shift below where I would like it to be. So, and I know I am a self-motivator, so I know that it will take time and organization to try to get that to come to life. So I'm looking for tools to eliminate time wasters on both sides, and then also build in that special family time and energy.
Yeah. Here's my initial question that's coming out for me, because I have so many executives or leaders say very similar things. And one of the interesting insights that comes out is, and I want to get your opinion, is how much of this is really about managing your time or about managing your energy when you're with your family or when you're with other people?
More is being present and managing my energy with my family.
Yeah.
But the second part is learning tools to eliminate time wasters. I am truly wanting to help every single human being. I feel like everybody deserves somebody to walk alongside of them. But I need to set boundaries and parameters to make that happen for both sides, my family and moving forward in my career. So
I hear you.
Yeah.
So let's talk about both of them. You said I need to understand how to make. Well, can I share one thing with you?
Yeah.
The Harvard Business Review, and I'll send this to you later. There was an article. They said, basically stop trying to manage your time, manage your energy. And that's what you said. And I'll send it to you. You don't have to worry about writing it down. Yeah, but it's really great. And we'll talk probably more. We'll see how much of this comes out. But you said, number one is I need to manage my energy with my family, but I also need to understand how to eliminate time wasters. So which one do you want to target first?
Let's target time wasters first.
Okay. So, what are some examples of how you're wasting time that you feel like you could recoup?
During this time, I've noticed that since I'm virtual at work and my kids are virtual, so I'm balancing a lot of things. So I feel fear or guilt when I think that I don't take someone's phone call. Even if I know that that might be a lengthy conversation, I still feel the guilt, but I also want to support that person that's reaching out because I feel like they've thought through it, they're reaching out, they need help, and I want to help. But sometimes it's not as constructive as I would like it to be.
Mhm.
And so I'm looking for tools to set the bar, set the tone, and set boundaries so that, hey, here are the solutions. What are we going to do? Let's regroup maybe later and see how it worked.
Yeah.
Versus more of the venting sessions, or I had this. And I think that it's a very important part of connecting with people to vent, but to a point. And I'm trying to find that boundary so that it's not taking away from my personal development at home and at work.
Yeah. You know, what I love about you and what I already admire is I can tell how much your heart is there for people and that how much you want to help people. Like it's been in everything you said from the start of this session, right?
Thank you.
But
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah. I mean, thank you. I think it's beautiful. We need leaders like that. One of the things that came up for me as you were talking, I wrote down, why are you always putting other people above yourself?
Ooh, good question. It might be something from the past where I actually, it probably goes back to the time. Well, it's further back. I was in 6th grade and I couldn't wait to be in the lunch line. That's my earliest career opportunity. I've just always wanted to help and it's just in me. I don't know. But I mean, if you do go into my adult life, that director role where I feel like I bombed could be one of those setbacks where I'm really focusing on others versus myself, helping them first before myself. But
yeah, and what's interesting is it's this delicate balance of it doesn't have to be one of the other.
right.
It's this, can I share another thing with you about servant leadership?
Yeah.
One of the things I wrote in that book about servant leadership is we talk so much about servant leadership is just all about serving other people. I'm like, you're just as much of that equation as other people.
Right.
Servant leadership is about having a people first mindset, and people first doesn't mean you put yourself on the back burner and all that, right? And it doesn't mean that I'm always just only there for other people. It is this integration of being there for both. So how do you, what does it feel like? And I want you to get out of your head and like into your feelers. What does it feel like when you know that you're kind of neglecting yourself and you're starting to put other people first? Like, how do you know that?
Panic.
Yeah. Tell me more.
Almost a shutdown moment that, when you go into a rocking and rolling day and you're just cranking it out, but then you've thrown a bunch of curveballs, somebody's calling, they want to talk for a very long time, you want to help. It's just, I'm panicked because I still need to complete the job. I still need to do the laundry. I need to take care of my kids. It's just, that's where it comes from, anxiety and panic.
Okay. So you have the awareness that when I'm starting to feel this panic and anxiety, I realize I'm starting to putting other people before myself. So what do you feel you need to start doing differently in those moments that you feel that feeling?
Pause. And that's what I'm looking for tools. I think going into some of these conversations, boundary setting and having a plan, setting expectations would be helpful for me because I know some of the stressors. I know where it's coming. I don't know if that answers your question, but
it starts. Yeah. Well, because what I heard you say is in those moments that I feel that panic and anxiety, the first thing I need to do is just pause. But then something has to follow that. And I can give you my opinion all day, but I want to help you figure out because you know you better than me, right? What do you feel that you need to do in that moment to get your own energy back so that you can show up your best?
I definitely walk away.
Okay.
Now I need to go for a walk. I need to listen to music, maybe a podcast or something, but I definitely need to remove myself and regroup to think about where my priorities lie.
Yeah.
My current state, my priorities are always focused on, okay, what's the next advancement at work? When sometimes my pause comes from family and I need to regroup and do something with family, whether I play a game or take the dogs for a walk or something like that. So my regrouping is always like, what can I do for work? What can I do for work? And it's, I need to shift that.
What I'm interested at, this is interesting. So when you say, okay, I'm going to pause, what is a question that you could ask yourself in that moment that would help you make a more informed decision?
Is this mission critical?
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Tell me why that question would help you.
Because it helps me, even though maybe somebody's agenda is coming towards me, is it mission critical to what I need to do to achieve what I need to do that day or towards my goals?
And if the answer is yes, then what?
Then I take the call, I work on the task,
and then
on the priority list.
Yeah. And then if the answer is you're like, oh, this stuff ain't mission critical, right? Like, so the answer is no. Obviously, now it's about being delicate and understanding how do I set boundaries here. So if the answer is no, which is going to be sometimes, let's work through what happens next when the answer is no.
That's where I have a problem.
That's why I'm here.
To help. I want to help everyone. I'm just going to be the psychologist of the universe. But yeah, I try to end, oh, I have a call. I want to think of an appropriate response versus, you know, I have to get to this next thing.
Yeah. Well, what I heard you say was the answer is no, but this person's wanting me in this moment, right? So how do I set this boundary? What do you think, what is an appropriate way that would feel right by you to be clear with them about what's happening and how to move forward?
I have about 10 or 15 minutes to chat. What's your question? Is there an issue? Can I help with it? Here are my solutions. Does that sound right? Do you want me to check in on you? Something of that nature and make it more productive.
Okay. Yeah. But there's going to be times that it feels like, based on what you said, where you don't even want to deal with it. You don't feel like you want to spend 10 or 15 minutes because you're like, oh, I'll just give them 10 or 15 minutes.
It turns into a half hour.
Yeah, right. But what about those moments where you're like, no, this really isn't mission critical. I need to put my energy other ways. But how do you deliver that message in a way that honors who you are, but I think also honors other people, or at least gives them, at least is transparent why, you know, maybe maybe not right now. Like, how do you deal with that?
I'm stuck.
Okay.
I'm stuck there.
Can I share some tools?
Yeah.
One example is I'm a big believer in transparency. We know that one of the top things that creates trust is transparency. And so part of it is like, hey, listen, I know this is really important to you. I have a lot on my plate right now. I will probably be free, you know, either tomorrow or later today, or whatever. But being clear with people why now is not a really good time. Hey, I want to make sure that when we do talk, that I can focus on you. And just right now is just really not a great time. Can I connect with you later? Or hey, can you drop me an email about kind of what you need from me? Because now I got all this stuff coming up, and I want to make sure that I have time to think about what you're saying. So those are just some examples, whether saying, hey, can you drop me an email about it? Hey, I can't meet right now because I got all this other stuff going on. I can see this is important to you. Can you let me know when you'll have some time, either tomorrow or something like that? How might something like, what comes up for you when we brainstorm that?
Relief, honestly, because that's what I was looking for, is setting that boundary, that tone, changing from the I'm always willing to help person to more constructive, because I think as I grow as a leader, I will have more and more responsibilities. So there'll be more opportunities to have that conversation. And yes, I want to help, but put your time on my calendar. But I wanted to make sure that when I start learning how to do that, that I haven't transformed from I want to help everyone to I don't have time for you. So I wanted to make sure that it was very loving and supportive, but effective and respected.
I'm going to give you two. I'm going to share with you two things I want you to kind of consider as you move forward. I heard an executive say this one time, and I just disagree with it. They said, "No is a complete sentence. No is a complete sentence," and it's a good soundbite, and it sounds sexy, and it's like, oh, to be confident and set boundaries. No is a complete sentence. The problem that I have with that is there's no transparency behind the no, and when people don't have transparency, they're going to be like, oh. She's rude. She's a bitch. She's inconsiderate, right? Because we were never so. And then I'm gonna share something else. The book Radical Candor. She talks about you need to be candid and have care at the same time. I think what we're talking about here is setting boundaries can be candid that there's a no, but the care part is me being transparent about why there's a no.
Yes.
So I don't think this is why I always say life is never either or.
Right.
So I think what you're saying is I want to set better boundaries. I want to make sure in how I do it that people get why and what is the next and what do we need to do.
Yes. Actually, I'm thinking of emails that I've received personally where I have that wall, and then you start to make up ideas and, well, do they not want to meet with me? Do they not care of what I want to say? So that's very good feedback.
Yeah. Brene Brown, she said, when people don't have all the information, they fill it in with fear. And it's much worse. And so what you're doing is I'm being clear about my no, but I'm giving them the information about why the no is the no.
Right.
And people can handle it.
Right. And actually, fear takes up way more time. Spin and spin and spin.
So going back to what you said is I need to understand how to eliminate some time wasters. What are you already taking away from this, just in the short part of this conversation?
Being upfront and honest.
Yeah.
So,
and you're going to know when you're not being, because what's going to happen?
I'm going to get panicked. Be like, oh, I'm putting the phone down and then I'll come back to it.
What, and I'm just brainstorming with you, what else do you feel that you need to do to really get your time into check or eliminate these time wasters?
I actually need to be better organized. When I first started this wellness journey a year ago, I was getting up earlier, and with COVID, I'm sleeping in a little bit longer because the commute's not there. And I hear that sleep's so important, but sleep's important to a point. And I feel more energetic if I wake up an hour or two earlier, and then I get in a bike ride for an hour, and then I'm ready to rock and roll. So I'm really trying to, we have a step challenge at work. So every time we have a step challenge, I'm on it and everything is jiving because I have to fit it in. But when the step challenge is over, it sometimes falls away. So I need to figure out a schedule where it's not just the step challenge driving this, but it's, I'm going to get up and I'm going to bike, and then I'm going to do coffee and take out the dogs and feed the kids, get them ready for school, and just have some time mapped out, which I've never done for myself, and build in those moments for energy breaks.
So here's what I hear you saying. I need to figure out how to create some habits that become a habit in my life that allow me to refuel and recharge and show up my best.
Right.
So let's brainstorm some. So I'm going to share with you, and then I'm going to give you your question. The Harvard Business Review, remember I was sharing with you, they have an article about how to manage your energy, not your time. And there's 4 areas of focus. The managing your energy is about your body, about your emotions, about your mind, and your spirit. And so I want you to brainstorm. I just don't worry about all 4 of those categories. Here's my question. What are some habits that when you do them, just make you feel like you're showing up your best?
Biking. Very, not well balanced, but a home cooked meal is, grabbing something. I can manage a garden, as small as that sounds. My house is clean. I'm organized.
So organized. Yep. What else? When I have these habits in place, it makes me just makes me show up better for my family, for my friends, for myself, for my coworkers.
Mm-hmm. So ask me the question again.
I was just saying what else, if there's anything else. I'm just giving you a chance to brainstorm more.
Having phone conversations with extended family.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I feel accomplished. I feel like I am so focused on my nuclear right now, and then also my work, that my sister-in-laws, my sisters, everyone is on the back burner. So I don't see them for a while or connect with them, or since we're virtual, and that gives me more panic because I do want to keep in touch. It's just, I'm exhausted in my mind.
Yeah, exactly. So, listen, we do not need to go change the world this next week, right? We just need to say, what are 1 or 2 habits that you're willing to try to implement that allow you to protect your energy so that you can show up your best?
Build in a lunch break. That's one thing. Yeah. Don't bring my lunch near my computer and multitask, because you know that that's not a thing. So that would be one. And then building in energy breaks. I have to stick to the schedule of working out because I really think it helps jumpstart my day.
Yeah.
The missing piece is, where do I build in times for, like I said, my immediate family with my 2 kids, my husband, and then also maybe branching out to the extended family. It's hard enough. My mom lives about 12 minutes away, and it's hard to even connect with her sometimes. And those are the most important things. And I feel that they've taken a back seat a little bit. So.
Can I ask why?
I don't know. It's hard for me to slow down, I think, often.
What are you rushing to?
I don't know. I nowhere.
So I'm going to
finish everything in one day. I totally understand that, but I always want to give the very best that I can in every situation, and I think I reach burnout. To be honest, it's giving myself a little bit of a break, but it's always been something that has panicked me, but then it also drives me. So it's a double-edged sword.
Mm-hmm. When you say I give it my best and give it my all, it sounds like, I want to make sure I'm clear. It sounds like you're relating a lot of that to your work.
Work and taking care of the home, taking more of the responsibilities of the home. I feel like I need to be more active in just pausing and, like I said, playing games and having laughter and memories, more of that than, okay, I have to take care of all, like I'm a manager of all of these things. So.
Yeah. Can I share a quote that I saw yesterday?
Yes,
I won't
please.
get it exactly right, but it's, I'll have to find it and actually send it to you. But it basically said, your work can always replace you. Your family cannot.
Yes.
And it was a game changer for me, right? Work, because everyone is replaceable. Even when we think I'm so good at my job, everyone is always replaced by someone.
Yeah. And I also saw something that at the end of the day, family they're the ones that are going to be there at the end.
Yeah.
Super important. And I think because of my transformation time frame, it's just, I'm just changing. So full speed ahead, and I'm recognizing these things, and I'm trying to work on them myself, but then also be able to give those tools to other people eventually. And I just need to take a step back at this point to fill my energy and focus on that before I can regroup and then keep helping.
Well, and it sounds like, Autumn, that you're so busy being busy that you're not showing up your best for anyone.
Right.
And part of what this is to say, how do I learn to, I'm not even going to say, maybe it's slow down. I don't know what you call it, but how do I manage my energy better so that I'm able to show up better for my family when I'm with them, for my coworkers when I'm with them, for my extended family when I take a walk. I'm going to, you know what? Every time I take a walk, I'm going to make a text message to someone in the family during the walk, right? Or something like that.
Right.
So let's brainstorm, because you mentioned 3 things I want to do before we kind of start getting to wrap up. As you said, I want to build in a lunch break. I don't want you to tell me, I want you to commit to, or if you want to commit, to say, okay, I know I want to do that. So what would that habit look like? So if you could, you have permission to change it, but if I could create this habit, what does building in a lunch break, what does that look like? When, where, all that?
Around the 11 o'clock, because my kids have their break at that time. So that would build in. And I also need to realize that the beauty of my organization is that everything's recorded. So if we have a meeting or some sort of town hall, it's recorded, but I'm always feeling like I have to show up. But I could go back and watch it at a more convenient time. And that happens a lot. It's just in my brain, it's happening at this time. I want to participate, but just being really mindful of, is this mission critical right now?
Mm-hmm.
So that 11 to 12 would be the best because everybody can have lunch together.
Beautiful. One of the things you just made me think of, there's a quote out there that years ago when I was working at Yum Brands, it was on a wall or somewhere. It said, sometimes you have to say no to good things so you can say yes to better ones.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you have to say no to good things so that you can say yes to better ones. And that's where you're stepping into is I'm going to learn to start saying no to maybe some of these live sessions or say no to this phone call so that I can say yes to the even better things that are going to be coming my way in my life. So, yeah. So
where can you find that so I can make a decal on my wall?
Okay. Yeah, I love it. So building in a break, you said I'm going to do that around 11 to 12 each day. You also want to build in energy breaks. So give me some, instead of just, that's a vision, right? But what does that look like? Give me some concrete examples of what you will commit to doing.
I'm very challenged by that because energy break could be 15 minutes. I don't know what that looks like from a productivity standpoint, because in my mind, I want to be done at a certain point so I can shut it off and be with my family.
Mm-hmm.
Build in energy breaks that's going to eliminate time later.
Mm-hmm.
I think my energy breaks would look like doing something with family because builds my energy from within. So maybe that would be a walk with the dogs, or let's go play outside or play in the snow or whatnot. Because I'm not really multitasking, but I'm building time in with them, which makes me happy.
Can I share something that we know from science?
Sure.
I'm going to ask a question and I'll share it. When you think about where you really do your best, like you get your best ideas and your best moments from, when do those tend to happen?
Oh gosh, I'm frightened to say right before bed, and that's
it is. Why do you think that is? That's one place, but why?
There's no noise. It's just quiet, and my wheels spin.
Well, and here's what because you're like, oh, well, I just want to stay on the task so I can get done and go on. The thing is, they say our best ideas come when we take a 5-minute walk, when we're in the shower, when we're in the car, when we're listening to that song. It's when we have that moment where we're not stressing in the moment about it, where we're able to get our best ideas and then come back and be way more productive and get it done versus kind of just, going through this and it's okay, but at what point, right? So this goes back to, those energy breaks that you're talking about. All the research says when you're able to do that, it doesn't have to be, it could be 5 minutes, 15, 30. You get to decide what works for you.
Right.
To say, you know what, hopefully it's going to re-energize you to come back and be more focused, to be more productive, that you save more time in the long run. Right. So let's brainstorm. I want you to give yourself permission to try something new this week. Okay. So energy break. Let's just play this out. If you were going to give it a certain amount of time, you want to try one to see how it works. Give me a time that would work for you. How much time?
15 minutes.
Okay. So a 15-minute energy break. And we don't have to say in that 15-minute break, it might look like this. Give yourself some options. What might a 15-minute really effective energy break for you look like?
Typically it would be hydration.
Okay.
And nourishment. I forget to eat sometimes. Breakfast is not a thing that I do, and I need to build that in.
So I was like sitting here, sorry, I'm like, God, I don't have that problem.
No, I just get up and I am like, okay, got to do the routine. And I went through an Energy for Life course, and I was like, I don't eat until 11. And how am I going to show up if I don't have nourishment as energy? So building in that, just something I guess would be normal to do. And then playing with the dogs, being Nature, nature, enjoying and being present. And that's something that I need to work on, is these different parts of my day, be present where I'm at, because I don't want to be playing with my dogs and then be thinking about, I have this meeting coming up, or anything else. Like, I'm playing with my kids, I'm playing with my dogs, or I'm in a meeting. And it's all good in theory until you have virtual and everything's crashing. So baby steps.
One last question, because you mentioned this in the beginning just now. You talked about being present where I'm at. How do you do that?
I listen to music usually.
Okay.
I've tried meditation. It doesn't really work for me.
Mm-hmm. Can I ask it differently? Let's think you're on the walk. So you're on this little 5-minute walk, 15-minute walk in nature. How do you really keep yourself accountable for being present?
I try to be as uber aware of my senses as possible.
Okay.
Going on, what I'm hearing, what I'm feeling, what I'm smelling.
Yeah.
I really try to do that. Not that I'm an expert at it at all, but I know that you almost need to, it's kind of like meditation, kind of repeating something that's dull over and over and then just relaxing. But
and I think you hit on it. It's just noticing. And getting out of your head and noticing your surroundings and what you're hearing and being present for that. So I put breathing, noticing, and when you're with your kiddos, I know that's so important to you based on what you said. I'm going to share one thing and then you can decide. I'm going to ask you how might something like that work or not work for you. One of the things that I do when I coach people or when I'm with family, we're human and we are going to get sidetracked. And but I tell myself that I literally will say this to myself. I say, Justin, stop. You owe it to Autumn to be present with Autumn. It's like a reminder that I need to say, like, oh, I'm not here. Like, stop, put down the phone or do whatever. Like, it reminds me to say, stop doing that and come back and be present here. So what when you're with that family, when you're with your family, what might be a statement or a question that you need to maybe remind yourself of so you can come back and be present?
What's most important right now?
Yeah.
And these things can wait. I mean, a lot of times it's like, is the earth going to stop moving if I don't do this right now? It doesn't have to be right now.
Yeah. So let's summarize. I want you to tell me, I'm going to ask you 2 questions to kind of wrap up. One is, what did you learn about yourself in this short little time that we had together?
Being proactive with others and being transparent. I'm doing them a disservice if I don't offer that. And it was me part of wanting to support others. They deserve that. That really hit home for me because I can think of several emails where I got the whoa, like the solid no. And I was like, wait a minute. So that will help in work and life, or work and home. And then also being mindful of these breaks. It seems like breaks or energy breaks is kind of a buzzword oftentimes. Like, oh, I'll just take 15 minutes away. But in that 15 minutes, I'm scrubbing a countertop or I'm putting a load of laundry in or something. It's got to be truly a self-centering opportunity. So
yeah, I love that. So I want you to commit for yourself in the next week. Just for everyone watching, you're going to be like, listen, this is what I'm actually committing to do. At least practice for the next week and just see how it goes in my life. What would those actions be for you?
The walks with family, for sure. 15 minutes, 20 minutes. That will get me my steps in. So that helps me with my energy and my exercise. And building in, and I see that in the morning, and then building another section in the afternoon that's more kid focused. Yeah. So an activity that they like to do. And just sitting down and being present and doing something with them instead of doing something for them. I'm always doing something for them. I'm not doing things with them. So
powerful. Yeah. I love that. All right. So walk with family, being present, all that. Anything else you were going to commit to?
Asking for help. I try to take on too much, and sometimes I need to delegate, whether it be, okay, I'm looking at the yard and it's a little too long. I'm going to have to reach out for help just this one time. Or, hey, grandma, I need you to take the kids because mama needs a break, or anything like that. Just asking, reaching out to other people.
Yeah. I love that. Well, I am super proud of you. I think it takes a lot of confidence and courage to show up and say, you know what, I'm at a place in my life where things are going well, but they can be better. But it's not going to be better unless I set some clearer boundaries with myself, with other people, until I learn how to protect my own energy. And to your point, I don't think it's a buzzword. This is why the most successful people, I think, tend to do it. It's not about not caring about other people. It's I need to care about myself so that I can also show up my best for the people that I really love in this life.
Right.
So I'm really proud of you. And I hope you will check in with me in a week. Try it out, see what works. Check in with me. And if we need to connect one-on-one, even outside of this, we'll do that because I want to be there for you as you start this process.
One last thing I want to say about you, my friend, is that you saying you're proud of people is so powerful. I don't think that happens enough for people in the whole world. It's just a really powerful statement. So I loved reading that in your books and listening to it on your podcasts or whatnot. So kudos to you. I am so thrilled I had this opportunity. I'm giddy. So thank you.
Well, thank you. Well, I always say, and I don't say that lightly. Like, I do believe in people, and I don't think.
No, and it shows. It really shows through.
Thank you. And just as just think about as a leader and as a mom, I think we get that chance to believe in those people, even when they don't meet our expectations, even when they're driving us crazy, right? It's like, those are the important parts. I got to remind myself, oh, I better believe in this person, and it's so interesting because I hear people, Autumn, sometimes say like, oh, people don't change. And I'm like, I just fundamentally can't buy into that argument.
I
don't. And I'm like, it's just everything that we do in these moments are about helping people have more awareness. I think change is hard, and I think it takes a long time. But I think that's why we get back in relationships, or we give people second chances. Spirituality is based on redemption and helping people know that they can change, right? And so
every day is a new day.
Yeah. So thank you for that. And I do believe in you, and I can't wait to see what you do next.
All right. Thank you. Have a great weekend.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, everybody. So I hope that you, as you watch that, you took either some lessons for yourself that you can do differently about how to manage your energy, do all that kind of good stuff. Autumn, it takes so much courage to do this in front of people. I say, I never know how this is going to go. It's not about getting it right. It's just helping people explore their own stuff in that process. So I hope for all of you that watched, or if you're back and watching the recording, you saw how we ask open-ended questions to get them to think about their own answers, to come up with their own ideas so they take more accountability just to move forward. It's not going to be the one end be all solution, but they practice it so that they can get better and see what works for themselves or doesn't work, and then try some new things. So hope it gives you something to think about. If no one tells you they believe in you, I believe in you. Remember, if you're going to be a great leader, build authentic relationships, set clear expectations with people, coach for performance, and then recognize them when they do stuff right. All right. Hope it gives you something to think about. Thanks, everybody.